You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Young and the Restless fans, we've got Kyle Abbott dumped by his girlfriend, and I expect that Audra Charles is going to rub his face in it, but she's also about to get rejected as well. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to talk about how Kyle might wind up in some twisted rebound with Audra, and hit that subscribe button if you're not already following us. So word is spreading in Genoa City that Claire Newman called it quits with Kyle, and this week we'll have Audra going back to Nate Hastings to plead her case and beg him to take her back. However, I expect Nate is likely going to reject Audra again this week and tell her no dice. She betrayed him with Kyle, and also with a whole pack of lies about Victor and the funding for her company. So, I mean, why would Nate ever get back with Audra? This week, we're going to see Kyle crushed because Claire broke up with him, and his dad, Jack Abbott, feels badly for Kyle, but he also understands where Claire is coming from because Kyle was her very first everything. First kiss, first boyfriend, first relationship, the first time she made love, everything. So Jack thinks it's understandable that Claire needs some more life experience before she settles down. Meanwhile, Diane Jenkins found out that Claire broke up with her son by overhearing a conversation between Victoria, Nikki, and Claire over at Society. Now, Diane is not happy at all to hear that Claire broke up with Kyle, and she confronts Claire about breaking Kyle's heart. So later, when Diane saw Kyle at the office, she told him what she overheard and that she heard Claire saying that she was going to be taking a trip to LA. So Diane was trying to be optimistic and thinks that maybe Claire is just heading to California to get a little space, a little time to just clear her head. And Diane tries to tell Kyle, don't lose hope. Maybe this breakup is just temporary and Claire's going to think things through and going to come back to you. However, Kyle is very worried that time apart means time for Claire to realize she doesn't really love him, and she never did. We have seen time and again that Kyle just cannot give Claire space when she asked for it. The last time she asked for space, he got a ring and proposed. So he's just not good at this. He's not patient. So later, Kyle's going to run into Claire in the park, and he brings up her trip to LA. And then Kyle puts two and two together and figures out that Holden is somehow involved because he's from LA. And then Kyle accuses Claire of dumping him so she can just go off and spend time with Holden and go to California with him. And Claire's stunned, but also I don't think Kyle is really far off the mark. Yeah, he broke Claire's trust and he made some bad decisions, but at the same time, Claire is definitely into Holden and he is a part of her decision-making process right now. So Claire's also very insistent that this breakup is a done deal, at least for now. And she did try and tell her mom and grandma that she and Holden are just friends. But after she left, Victoria and Nikki were saying, no, we've both heard her talking about Holden. So they know that Claire has some interest in him and it's not just casual friendship. So at the same time that Kyle is reeling from being dumped, it looks like Audra is going to get a final dumping from Nate as well. I expect when Audra asks Nate to take her back, he's going to give her a Taylor Swift response. We are never, ever, ever getting back together. So that leaves Kyle and Audra both single and hurting and full of rage. And ironically, Kyle blames Audra for his breakup with Claire, and Audra blames Kyle because she lost Nate once and for all. So Kyle and Audra aren't just mad at Claire and Nate, they're also really mad at each other. And when Audra and Kyle run into each other, I expect them both to salt the wounds because they're each going to know that the other one was dumped. And I'm betting as word spreads that Claire dumped Kyle, we're going to see Audra taunting Kyle about it. And when Audra finds out Claire went to LA with Holden, Oh my goodness. I expect Audra to have some really snarky and insulting things to say about that too. Audra will probably tell Kyle that Claire left him for someone hotter and better and more loyal. And I think Kyle will have some pretty harsh things to say to Audra. Something like, Nate's a good guy and he deserves someone better. He does not deserve to be stuck with a disloyal, lying, cheating harpy like Audra. We may see Kyle and Audra just going nuclear on one another. We already saw how bad things can get between Kyle and Audra because they were ripping into each other at the jazz lounge at the GCAC the other day after Kyle had been drinking. People were staring, and in the end, Sally and Jack had to intervene to break it up and get them away from each other. So obviously, there's still passion between Kyle and Audra. It's just gone from being like a sizzling, heated passion to hatred, but it could flip back the other way soon. I think an intense and angry confrontation between Audra and Kyle could turn into some hate sex and a revenge rebound that's not about romance, but is about punishing one another for each of them losing the person they love. In his case, Claire. In her case, Nate. We all know there's a very thin line between love and hate. And with Kyle and Audra probably tearing into each other soon, those lines might blur. They might start ripping each other's clothes off in addition to ripping into each other. Clearly, there's attraction still there between Audra and Kyle. I mean, even though they can't stand each other, I think they're still hot for each other. When they were rolling around on that bed in France, it was sizzling. They were both really into it. Kyle was, Audra was. And if it wasn't for Kyle tapping the brakes, I think they both might have been naked and cheating on the people they claim to love. Plus, Audra had been flirting up a storm with Kyle in France, and he was flirting right back. Everybody saw it. So this week, it looks like Audra and Kyle finally realize they have lost Claire and Nate for good. And Kyle might end up turning on Audra and raging at her, and I think she'll give Kyle as good as she gets. And we may soon see Audra and Kyle having a hateful fling where they fight and then fall into bed. It's like fighting is foreplay for them. It's a whole enemies to lovers vibe that's very common in romance novels and on soap operas. It's one of my favorite tropes. And I can see this turning from Kyle and Audra having a secret dirty fling to actually falling for each other. So we'll see what happens, but I think there is a lot more in store for Kyle and Audra.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.